Adam's foot to be in the shot.
Adam's foot's not in the shot. Okay.
Hey, why am I saying it for you?
Oh, I just let you talk. But, yeah, welcome. Good morning. Bonne avis. Bonne avis? I don't know what that means. We are going to continue chapter 9 from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. So, yeah, the kids just got excited during History of Magic for the first time ever. And the ghost professor didn't even know any of their names. He kept saying all their names wrong. But he didn't want to talk about it, but he could tell they all wanted to hear about it.
Professor Binns.
Yeah, and he was like, why are people actually paying attention to what I'm saying for once? So he told the story, but basically reaffirmed that it's a legend and codswallop and not to be taken seriously. But anyway, yeah.
I'm gonna tell your fans about the new game that just came out on Tuesday.
Oh, what game?
NASCAR 25, of course.
Oh, yeah, he's been playing NASCAR 25 while I sneak in more rest. But now we're starting our lessons. We're starting with the fun stuff. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I always knew Salazar Slytherin was a twisted old loony, Ron told Harry and Hermione as they fought their way through the teeming corridors at the end of the lesson to drop off their bags before dinner. But I never knew he started all this pureblood stuff. I wouldn't be in his house if you paid me. Honestly, if the Sorting Hat tried to put me in Slytherin, I'd have gotten on the train straight back home. Hermione nodded fervently, but Harry didn't say anything. His stomach had just dropped unpleasantly. Harry had never told Ron and Hermione that the Sorting Hat had seriously considered putting him in Slytherin.
In, I think it was book 1.
Mm-hmm.
Hans, was it Magic Wand began to attack forward.
No, that's book 2 after they crashed the car in the tree.
And the tree was out of control.
Mm-hmm. No, it's called the Whomping Willow, and it beats up anyone who comes near it. Unless you know how to calm it down. But yeah, so Harry is remembering when he was at Hogwarts the first year, and the Sorting Hat was whispering in his ear, I could put you in Slytherin, and Harry was like, no, not Slytherin. And so it ended up putting him in Gryffindor. Since they're talking smack about Slytherin, Harry feels ashamed. He could remember, so the Sorting Hat had seriously considered putting him in Slytherin. He could remember, as though it was yesterday, the small voice that had spoken in his ear when he'd placed the hat on his head a year before. You could be great, you know, it's all you. No, the hat, the Sorting Hat. It's like the dirty hat they wear at the beginning of the year.
You said voice, so I thought you meant Mrs. Norris.
No, that's a different plot point. So the Sorting Hat talks to you when you're wearing it, while it figures out where you belong. And it reads your mind. And Harry is also hearing a voice that nobody else can hear this year. So the hat that he's remembering a year ago, the hat was like, you could be great, you know, it's all here in your head. And Slytherin would help you on the way to greatness, no doubt about that. Harry, who had already heard of Slytherin House's reputation for turning out dark wizards, had thought desperately, not Slytherin, not Slytherin. And the hat had said, oh, well, if you're sure, better be Gryffindor. As they were shunted along in the throng, Colin Creevey went past. Hiya, Harry. Hello, Colin, said Harry automatically. Harry, a boy in my class has been saying you're... But Colin was so small he couldn't fight against the tide of people bearing him towards the Great Hall. They heard him squeak, see you, Harry, and he was gone. What's a boy in his class saying about you? Hermione wondered. That I'm Slytherin's heir, I expect, said Harry, his stomach dropping another inch or so as he suddenly remembered the way Justin Finch Flenchley had run away from him at lunchtime. "People here believe anything," said Ron in disgust. The crowd thinned, and they were able to climb the next staircase without difficulty. "Do you really think there's a Chamber of Secrets?" Ron asked Hermione. "I don't know," she said, frowning. "Dumbledore couldn't cure Mrs. Norris, and that makes me think that whatever attacked him might not be, well, human?" As she spoke, they turned a corner and found themselves at the end of the very corridor where the attack had happened. They stopped and looked. The scene was just as it had been that night, except that there was no stiff cat hanging from the torch bracket, and an empty chair stood against the wall, bearing the message. "The chamber has been opened." "That's where Filch has been keeping guard," Ron muttered. They looked at each other. The corridor was deserted. "Can't hurt to have a poke around," said Harry, dropping his bag and getting to his hands and knees so that he could crawl along, searching for clues. "Scorch marks," he said. "Here, and here." "Come and look at this," said Hermione. "This is funny." Harry got up and crossed to the window next to the message on the wall. Hermione was pointing at the topmost pane where around 20 spiders were scuttling, apparently fighting to get through a small crack in the glass. A long silvery thread was dangling like a rope, as though they had all climbed it in their hurry to get outside. "Have you ever seen spiders act like that?" said Hermione, wonderingly. "No," said Harry. "Have you, Ron?" "Ron?" He looked over his shoulder. Ron was standing back and seemed to be fighting the impulse to run. "What's up?" said Harry. "I don't like spiders," said Ron tensely. "I never knew that," said Hermione, looking at Ron in surprise. "You've used spiders in potions loads of times." "I don't mind them dead," said Ron, who was carefully looking anywhere but at the window. "I just don't like the way they move." Hermione giggled. "It's not funny," said Ron fiercely. "If you must know, when I was 3, Fred turned my teddy bear into a dirty, great spider because I broke his toy broomstick. You wouldn't like them either if you'd been holding your bear and suddenly it had too many legs and..." He broke off, shuddering. Hermione was obviously still trying not to laugh. Feeling they had better get off the subject, Harry said, "Remember all that water on the floor? Where did that come from?"
Huh.
"Someone's mopped it up."
That's weird.
Yeah. Usually bathrooms have water.
And not floors, because there's a trail of water now on the floor, and whoever's done it.
There was water, like when the attack happened. "It was about here," said Ron, recovering himself to walk a few paces past Filch's chair and pointing, level with this door. He reached for the brass doorknob, but suddenly withdrew his hand as though he'd been burned. "What's the matter?" said Harry. "Can't go in there," said Ron gruffly. "That's a girl's toilet." "Oh, Ron, there won't be anyone in there," said Hermione, standing up and coming over. "That's Moaning Myrtle's place. Come on, let's have a look." And ignoring the large out of order sign, she opened the door. It was the gloomiest, most depressing bathroom Harry had ever set foot in. Under a large, cracked and spotted mirror, there was a row of chipped stone sinks. The floor was damp and reflected the dull light given off by the stubs of a few candles, burning low in the holders. The wooden doors to the cubicles were flaking and scratched, and one of them was dangling off its hinges. Hermione put her fingers to her lips and set off towards the end cubicle. When she reached it, she said, "Hello, Myrtle, how are you?" Harry and Ron went to look. Moaning Myrtle was floating on the cistern of the toilet, picking a spot on her chin. There's a picture of Myrtle, full portrait. So Moaning Myrtle is the ghost that haunts the girls' bathroom on this floor. It's quite homely. See, she's got glasses and a big nose. She looks really sad. This is a girl's bathroom, she said, eyeing Ron and Hermione and Harry suspiciously. They're not girls. No, Hermione agreed. I just wanted to show them how nice it is in here. She waved vaguely at the dirty old mirror and the damp floor. Ask her if she saw anything, Harry mouthed at Hermione. What are you whispering? Said Myrtle, staring at him. Nothing, said Harry quickly. We wanted to ask. I wish people would stop talking behind my back, said Myrtle, in a voice choked with tears. I do have feelings, you know, even if I'm dead. Even if I am dead. Myrtle, no one wants... I was just looking at... I want it to be 11:11. Myrtle, no one wants to upset you, said Hermione. Harry only... No one wants to upset me. That's a good one, howled Myrtle. My life was nothing but misery at this place, and now people come along ruining my death. We wanted to ask you if you'd seen anything funny lately, said Hermione quickly, because a cat was attacked right outside your front door on Halloween. Did you see anyone near...
Mrs. Norris.
Did you see... Yeah, Mrs. Norris. Did you see anyone near here that night, said Harry. I wasn't paying attention, said Myrtle dramatically. It's 11:11. 11:11. Peeves upset me so much, I came in here...
Is that a picture of Squeaky on that?
Yeah, it is. Okay, pay attention. I wasn't paying attention, said Myrtle dramatically. Peeves upset me so much. I came in here and tried to kill myself. Then, of course, I remembered that I'm already dead, said Ron helpfully. Myrtle gave a tragic sob, rose up in the air, turned over, and dived head first into the toilet, splashing water all over them and vanishing from sight. From the direction of her muffled sobs, she had come to rest somewhere in the U-bend. Harry and Ron stood there with their mouths open, but Hermione shrugged wearily and said, Honestly, that was almost cheerful for Myrtle. Come on, let's go. Harry had barely closed the door on Myrtle's gurgling sobs when a loud voice made all three of them jump. Run! Percy Weasley had stopped dead at the head of the stairs, Prefect badge agleam, and
Is that who it was?
That's his brother, his older brother. An expression of complete shock on his face. That's a girl's bathroom, he gasped. What were you? Just having a look around, Ron shrugged. Clues, you know. Percy swelled in a manner that reminded Harry forcefully of Mrs. Weasley. Get away from there, he said, striding towards them and starting to chivvy them along, flapping his arms. Don't you care what this looks like? Coming back here while everyone's at dinner. Why shouldn't we be here? Why shouldn't we be here? Said Ron hotly, stopping short and glaring at Percy. Listen, we never laid a finger on that cat. That's what I told Ginny, said Percy fiercely. But she still seems to think you're going to be expelled. I've never seen her so upset, crying her eyes out. You might think of her. All the first years are thoroughly overexcited by this business. You don't care about Ginny, said Ron, whose ears were reddening now. You're just worried I'm going to mess up your chances of being head boy. 5 points from Gryffindor, Percy said tersely, fingering his prefect badge. And I hope it teaches you a lesson. No more detective work, or I'll write to Mum. And he strode off, the back of his neck as red as Ron's. Harry, Ron, and Hermione chose... Oh, this is also what the page looks like. It's got, like, the creepy, stony wall borders. Harry, Ron, and Hermione chose seats as far as possible from Percy in the common room that night. Ron was still in a very bad temper and kept blotting his charms homework. When he reached absently for his wand to remove the smudges, it ignited the parchment. Fuming almost as much as his homework, Ron slammed the Standard Book of Spells Grade 2 shut. To Harry's surprise, Hermione followed suit. Who can it be, though? She said in a quiet voice, as though continuing a conversation they had just been having. Who'd want all the squibs and muggleborns out of Hogwarts? Let's think, said Ron in mock puzzlement.
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
What do you want to say?
We got a model of Hogwarts.
Oh yeah, well we have the flying car. We gotta tell Adam to put that together, don't we?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he'll want to start on it if he finishes his math today. Okay. He enjoys Legos, I think. Okay. So Ron's like, let's think, and he's like being sarcastic. Who do we know who thinks muggleborns are scum? He looked at Hermione.
Definitely not Mrs. Norris.
Well, no, they know a person at the school who hates muggleborns, and he's a Slytherin. Hermione looked back, unconvinced. If you're talking about Malfoy. Of course I am, said Ron. You heard him. You'll be next, mudbloods. Come on, you've only got to look at his foul rat face to know it's him. Malfoy, the heir of Slytherin, said Hermione skeptically. Look at his family. What?
They've got to find a way to stop him before he wreaks havoc again.
Well, they need to prove that it's him first. Hermione doesn't even think it's him. Hermione thinks he's too lame, basically. Look at his family, said Harry, closing his books, too. The whole lot of them have been in Slytherin. He's always boasting about it. They could easily be Slytherin's descendants. His father's definitely evil enough. They could have had the key to the Chamber of Secrets for centuries, said Ron, handing it down, father to son. Well, said Hermione cautiously, I suppose it's possible. But how do we prove it, said Harry darkly. There might be a way, said Hermione slowly, dropping her voice still further with a quick glance across the room at Percy. Of course it would be difficult. And dangerous, very dangerous. We'd be breaking about 50 school rules, I expect. If in a month or so you feel like explaining, you will let us know, will you? Said Ron irritably. All right, said Hermione coldly. What we need to do is get inside the Slytherin common room and ask Malfoy a few questions without him realizing it's us. But that's impossible, Harry said, as Ron laughed. No, it's not, said Hermione. All we need would be some polyjuice potion. What's that? Said Ron and Harry together. Snape mentioned it in class a few weeks ago. Do you think we've got nothing better to do in potions than listen to Snape?
This is book 3, right?
Book 2, muttered Ron. It's almost over this chapter. It transforms you into somebody else. Think about it. We could change into 3 of the Slytherins. No one would know it was us. Malfoy would probably tell us anything. He's probably boasting about it in the Slytherin common room right now, if only we could hear him. This polyjuice stuff sounds a bit dodgy to me, said Ron, frowning. What if we were stuck looking like 3 of the Slytherins forever? It wears off after a while, said Hermione, waving her hand impatiently. But getting hold of the recipe will be very difficult. Snape said it was in a book called Most Potent Potions, and it's bound to be in the restricted section of the library. There was only one way to get out a book from the restricted section. You needed a signed note of permission from a teacher. Hard to see why we'd want the book, really, said Ron, if we weren't going to try and make one of the potions. I think, said Hermione, if we made it sound as though we were just interested in the theory, we might stand a chance. Oh, come on, there's no teacher going to fall for that, said Ron. They'd have to be really thick. No, so that was chapter 9. The writing on the wall.
The one where Mrs. Norris disappeared after the attack.
Well, Dumbledore put her like in the hospital wing probably until they can fix her. They have to wait till the little potato babies grow up, and then they'll make a potion that'll revive her. So, do you want another taco?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, that was chapter 9. We're gonna pause this one, and maybe we'll start chapter 10 today. It is called The Rogue Bludger. So there's gonna be a Quidditch this chapter.
Quidditch round.
And there is a potion bottle with a skull on it.
Cool. It's gonna be Quidditch And then in book 1, I think it is, the chapter's called Quidditch.
Yeah, that's one of the chapters. This one's called the Rogue Bludger. So the bludger is the ball that flies toward you and tries to knock you off your broom.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with what I said.
Okay, yeah, there is a chapter called Quidditch in Harry Potter 1. This is Harry Potter 2, though. Anyway, yeah, there's Quidditch in every book, pretty much. Thank you for watching.